Welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host, our very good friend, is Dave.
Hi there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering MAFS UK Series 7, Episode 22.
Well, before we do start, Dave, yes, we've had a few comments on Facebook regarding our daily, not daily podcast. And can I just say that you are the worst co-host ever, because you say we're not doing this every day. I agree completely. I have no fucking willpower or any sort of strength. You know that I hold podcasts all the time. And it's like, we're going again, aren't we? You text me last night while the show was on. Are we going after the show? All right, let's go after the show then, Dave. Yeah, no problem. And here we fucking are. So, Mr. Daily, not daily podcast. I think we just go through the order of the show then. So if that's okay. Shanita and Jordan were the first ones we get to see, don't we, having this discussion. I questioned the validity of where he is, and is he genuine? Is he not? What the score is? I think they look good together, and they're quite open the way they talk. And it did seem a bit forced, that conversation, if I'm being honest, because it was soon like, oh, let's just carry on then, my mate, or whatever. I'm not sure, Dave. I think this episode for me, and we'll talk about each couple, this has shown to me that there is not one couple who's going to stay together. And I think the only couple who are them two shithouses who've just come back into it, if I'm being honest.
Well, again, they're following the track of, Daniel and Carolina, aren't they?
Yes.
You know, they're giving a big fuck you to everyone else and saying, we've found love. Look at you, you bunch of bastards. You know, you were put together by science. Oh, no, they claim science as well, don't they? But whatever fits the narrative for them. So they might last a bit longer, but I suspect once all the lust has you know, been gotten out of the way, I'm sure they're having a whale of a time. But I think after that, I don't really see a long-term future for them. But you're right, probably, you know, initial sexual chemistry-wise, they probably are the closest together now. But with Shanita and Jordan, I can't make my mind up, mate. I mean, you were saying about maybe he wants to get on Geordie Shore or something like that, and maybe he's just playing the game. I could go with the narrative that he was trying to sell, that, you know, when he moves in with someone, he wants to be in love with them. You know, as a parent of teenagers, Chris, I will be convincing mine, you don't have to, just fucking, just go for it. Just so I don't have to do your fucking washing every weekend and clean up after you. But no, seriously, I think I'm on the fence with Jordan and as to what his intentions really are. I think at the minute I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Shanita's mum was massively convinced by him. And also, Shanita was saying, oh yeah, what he said there, he's put my mind at rest a bit. And I'm like, did I have a brain fart then? Was I having a stroke or something? Couldn't smell toast or anything. But I was just thinking, what did he say to put her mind at rest?
Not a lot.
Did he actually say anything of substance? Where it was like, oh, well, now you put it that way, that makes perfect sense. He seemed to say the same things, but for some reason it resonated with her. So I completely missed it, you know, if something landed. But, I mean, if you don't know, Chris, if anyone out there knows, what was it he said that really put her mind at rest? Because I completely missed that. I didn't
at all. And I thought one was quite good initially. She sort of gave it him, didn't she? She was sort of like, well what's the score? But I think I think this part of the show, and there is something we need to talk about at the end, Dave, regarding our good friend Paul, the expert. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Yes, we forgot about that. So I'll just put a little footnote in there so we don't forget that. But I think, like I say at the start of the show, he's like, it just looks like none of these people are going to do any sort of compromising. Their connection isn't a love connection, pretty much. I thought Shanita and Jordan were at that stage. They're obviously not. It's going to be, we tried to make it happen. She lives up near us in Manchester, I think. He's in Newcastle. That's going to be a long 160-mile, 320-mile round trip every time they meet each other. So I don't think their connection is that strong. If you're that in love with somebody, you make that sacrifices. But we all know long distance relationships, eventually one of you has got to move. I mean, look at Adam and Paige, Dave. I mean, they were love's young dream at Love Island. And look at where they are now. It's like, you just know it's not going to work. And I think every single couple, I came out of it going, this is just completely validates the fact that the experts are fucking shit again.
I thought he was up by Darlington or something. I mean, it's northeast. I didn't think he was actually in Newcastle, but I could be wrong there. Maybe he was just from Darlington originally. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know what his criteria of being love really is. Because everything that I've seen up until that dinner party when he seemed to sabotage the whole relationship himself, they seem to be going on really sweet. And I don't know, it's not like Love Island, Chris, when you've got a very defined scale and criteria. There's you just coupled up, there's being exclusive, there's can I be your girlfriend and boyfriend? There's that, isn't there? And then I guess you get into the real world stuff of, getting engaged, moving in, all that sort of stuff. But, by this kind of week, I mean, isn't it a couple of months or something, the experiment? So, I'd have thought he must be getting the feels at some point now. They seem to have not really had any bumps in the road. They seem to get on like a house on fire. So, yeah, I don't know what his criteria for being love is.
No, I don't. And I think she's more open to it. I agree. And I tell you, Dave, who isn't open for love, and he's someone who really has got away with me and you giving him both barrels for a lot of the show because of just the ridiculousness of Matt and Whitney and the fallout of all that. And he gave us the line of the series for me, Kwame. What the fuck is going on with that guy, Dave? Is he a secret agent? Is he married with 6 kids? Is he taking the piss? Is he doing a grand crap off Love Island Australia for a series where he's got a girlfriend at home and he's just doing it for the clout on TV? It's fucking strange. In case you're there, she give him everything. She's telling the story about what her origin is, where she came from with her body and everything. And he's taking the piss in it. And she's like, I've just switched off for him. And I'm like, he's been a bell end under the radar for about a couple of weeks now. And we've not really put him to task because everyone else has been fucking worse. But it's just red flags for me. And the more she questioned, like, is he the man for me? No, he's fucking not, because he's blagging you. Don't do it. I really don't want them to get together, Dave.
Oh, I think you're okay with that bet. I don't think there's any chance whatsoever. It's just very, very strange, isn't it? So let's replay back. So a few episodes ago, he was saying, well, we're so good, we can leave the experiment now. That was pretty much what he was saying. Then, no, I can't have you in my house.
Yeah.
Not even when the cameras are gone. Can't have you in my house at all. So everyone's speculating, what the hell's in his house? I mean, with all his polo necks and stuff, I mean, it's in memes of it. He does have a bit of Frozone from The Incredibles about him, doesn't he? Maybe that is that. He's got his super suit in there. But no, I think we can kind of like speculate over that. But you know what, Chris? I think in tonight's episode, he really pissed me off, if I'm honest. I thought it was so disrespectful how he was, reacting to what Keisha was putting out there. Now, there's a little part to me that says it was a bit bachelor, wasn't it? When they have the one-to-one dinner date, and then, right, it's time for the sob story now. This is the sob story time. So I'm possibly a bit jaded by being bachelored out still, even though we've not done it for a few months. But when she's talking about basically this journey that she's been on, getting pregnant early, being in a shitty flat and stuff, and basically deciding for herself, no, I'm going to make something of myself. Now she's got her own business. And he's just like, oh, can you get me muscles then? And just fucking laughing and joking at everything. It's like, read the room, you bellend. She's fucking being serious here, and now you should reflect that and fucking switch your ears on. And instead, he's just this dismissive kind of attitude and laughing everything off. it just comes across that he just does not give a fuck about her. And I think, I said from week one, I don't think he's attracted to her. I don't think that's changed. And like you said, he's gone under the radar a little bit. But I thought that was more than not being attracted to her. That was just not giving a shit about her. And I thought that came across really, really badly for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think when he's saying he wants to go, Dave, he knew that there's something coming up where they've got to film stuff in his house, or it's just why? And why would you admit that on TV even more? It makes him look more shady, more fucking dodgy, more, everything. He just looks proper off, like he's hiding him. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I've got to say, Dave, the more this series goes on, whoever fucking supposedly did the vetting on these contestants, he's fucking taking the piss, aren't they? They've just, unbelievable. I just don't get it. You can't participate in a show like this and just completely block off your partner. She doesn't deserve that. I'm not saying we want to go and look in his fucking cupboard and see what fucking stuff he's got in there, but I find it really, really
Let's
strange.
have a look in your secret drawer, shall we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what toys have we got in here, Kwame?
What's this one? On national TV. But yeah, I agree, because the whole thing of, I don't really want to let the cameras in. I think the whole thing around Leave is he's just done, but he doesn't really want to walk out or make a scene. He still wants to come across like the good guy. I think it's that. I think he's got all that he wants out of the show, or he's been in it long enough. He knows he's going to have a bit of exposure. He knows his life will be a bit different after this. And I think that's what it is, so, yeah, no chance for this couple at all. The only thing that surprised me, but I kind of get it as well, is when they had the letters, the day before, she fiercely defends that relationship, doesn't she? But, I mean, inside, she must be feeling like, this is not all that. And the fact that, we see a bit of a clip for tomorrow, she says to her friends, is Kwame the right man for me? Why are you even asking that question? I mean, surely it is clear. Sure as eggs are eggs. There's no way. There's no future for this relationship whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. It's fucking nonsense. And I tell you what, Dave, again, another couple who come out of this and we're like, why are you even here? Is we get Jonathan and Sophie playing tennis with her mum and dad. Her dad, fuck me, he's not standing. He's the classic cliche dad off like TV shows when the girl brings the boyfriend round, isn't it? He's having none of that, what Jonathan's selling. I'm not saying he's wrong, because I think Jonathan's a fucking absolute muppet the way he spoke and these comments about he can have an opinion. Every fucking person in the world's got an opinion, but sometimes you need to shut the fuck up or keep your mouth shut. Even if you don't believe it, you don't verbalize what you're thinking so like that all the time. And even when he's been told, he's defending himself all the time. And you certainly don't comment where you've slated their daughter about, I don't want you to have horse legs. And then it made it even worse at the dinner table because he explained it even worse than he did the first time. And the dad's like, what are you fucking trying to do here? What are you expecting us to say? Like, it's our daughter. What a fucking dick, Dave.
All I was saying was I didn't like horse legs. I mean, that's my opinion. And he just keeps, he's like a computer program that's got a glitch, and you try like early releases of games and stuff, don't you? And there's a fucking glitch. He's stuck on the horse legs. He can't fucking get away from it. And yeah, he is the one. He's not even pressed about it. It's not just like, oh, look, we had some misunderstandings, but we're over them now. Because, again, at the dinner party, Sophie didn't seem that arsed about it. But it's as if he's looking. He keeps throwing it out there for me because he's looking for someone to come back to him and say, yeah, I agree. Horse legs, not into him, really. But I don't know why you would do that to Sophie's parents.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't know. I'm done with the horse legs thing now, but he just cannot stop saying it. So I think, yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it? And I think with the dad, did he give Jonathan a hard time? Well, I don't really know. She's been brought up, I think, to be a high flyer. That's kind of how she set about. Again, I'm actually with Jonathan when he said about the shrine. A little bit weird. I'm with you there. But he's not going to be happy with someone who, in their own words, have just got no ambition. When they know that their daughter is ambitious, she's a go-getter. She said something about her, she was the youngest account manager in a tech firm. Basically, that's sales. So it just does not seem a good match. But I think, honestly, Chris, and I don't want to be disrespectful to her, because I think she it does seem like single-minded, strong, independent, but I think there is naivety there. I think if she actually stood back a bit, she'd realise, actually, you know what, they're not compatible. Even though, they're such a good-looking couple, and they, you see a picture of them, they just look great together, I think, but I just don't think they are compatible. And I think the dad was sort of sniffing that out. Now, where I don't agree with the dad is where he's saying, like, yeah, but you need money. You should know that. You're from Yorkshire. Seems a bit stereotypical, Dad, but, what you're trying to insinuate there. So, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with that. I did think the dad gave him a bit of a hard time, but I also kind of get it as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, in any other situation, I'd probably be sticking up for Jonathan in a normal situation to a point. Because obviously, you've got to look after your kids. You're going to want to, make sure that the person that they want to potentially spend their life with is genuine, not going to hurt them. Just look out for your kids. But I've got no skin in that race. I don't like what Jonathan's done. What are you laughing at now?
You've got no skin in the race, have you?
Well, something like that, whatever that means.
It's either skin in the game or horse in the race, I guess. But you can have a skin race if you like. I mean, mind boggles.
Yeah, let's not go down that route. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, before we move on, I mean, did you not think the whole interaction about, Jonathan, again, got no ambition, so he'll gladly stay at home and bring up the kids? And Sophie's like, maybe I want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
So he sort of made this little gesture, I think, to kind of get on side with the parents. But I think he's overshot it. I mean, that's the sort of shit you ask. You discussed before you announce it to the parents. So I just thought that was quite funny, that bit.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. And I was always quite happy to stay at home with Jordan. But it never happened. But there you go. No, I think as well, like, if you look at them and you move on to sort of Jenna and Zoe, that relationship is doomed from the get-go as well. We're at a standoff about kids. We're at a standoff where they're going to live. It was very awkward with Zoe's family and Jenna, like, saying, we haven't discussed it. And then Zoe's like sort of putting a time scale on it. Like, she's got to make a decision, and that doesn't happen, does it? She's like, well, maybe at the end of the experiment. So I was thinking, well, this is another relationship. That is pretty much, we are going to remain friends forever. It's just weird.
I find the weirdest, and I'll get onto fucking pickles in a minute, but the weirdest is how stubborn they both seem to be. Like, neither of them has any interest at all in entertaining the idea that they're going to move away from where they are currently.
Yeah.
Either Midlands or Blackpool, they're both settled. They both like their lives. So what are you doing on the fucking show? Like, if you're going to be that fucking set in your ways and not even entertain the idea, because that's how it came across. Jenna was not even entertaining the idea. Straight away, yeah, couldn't see myself living here. Why would you come on? Someone's going to match you with the right person. Oh, right, but they don't live within 3 fucking blocks of me. I'd have to make a fucking car journey to get there. It boggles my mind, but none more so than having a pickled fucking rat in your house. What was that all about?
Yeah, and we've had the whole vegan thing, and I'd sort of sticked up for Zoe and everything, and this isn't about choice of food, but what I would say is if she knows that the person she's with or potentially with is vegan, is an animal rights activist, why the fuck would you have a fucking pickled rat? Why would you just move it?
Just
move it.
Stick it in the bastard cupboard.
I know, exactly. Exactly.
You can show it off camera. You can discuss it. There's loads of times when the cameras aren't there. Why, forget fucking veganism and vegetarianism, Chris. It's fucking rank to have a pickled rat. Like, I don't know which room it was in. It looked like the fucking kitchen to me, but, it's just fucking rank, that is. Now, obviously, that's Zoe's thing, but I think, Jenna does come across a bit more passionate about the whole veganism thing. So, it was probably a lot more hurtful for her. But, yeah, I think it's ridiculous to bring that out on TV.
It is, to be fair. Really, really strange. And Dave, we're at the main event of this episode where we both, within the last couple of weeks, I'm not going to speak for both of us, actually. I'll take that back. Because obviously you and Thomas are Instagram friends. So I don't want to, take that away from you, Dave. So friends. Impression friends. Because you did get a retweet, didn't you, and a like of your impression of Thomas.
You obviously liked the impression, so fair play. It's all done in good fun.
Yeah, my most hated language in the whole of the UK, Dave. Shall I say accent? Shall I say? But anyway, and it was good fun actually. Dave, you did well there. But I think with them two, I've really said about Thomas, he's laid into Matt. He's not really Matt, but Matt and Whitney, and he's had he's had a go at George. He's laid into Jonathan. He's sort of gone for the right people, and he speaks his mind, whether you want it or not, he's going to go. And obviously we know he storms off and he's very dramatic. I didn't like what happened tonight at all. And I didn't think he bats Adrian at all. Adrian has had to put up with so much shit from him on this show. And we can only go off the edited stuff. I'm not saying Adrian hasn't snapped back or give him a bit back. But from what we can see, Adrian is an absolute down the line gem of a man. And he has calmed Thomas. Thomas has said that. He puts up with all my shit. He's like, you have to have that yin and yang. And it really looks like they turned a corner. But I did not like what was going on. I know Thomas has come out and said his mum had an operation and don't question me after what's happened with this episode and that. So I'm paraphrasing, by the way, guys. He was just saying, watch the show. Adrian was supporting me. But that edit did him and his family no good. And I've got to say, his dad actually looks like the guy who plays Mrs. Brown Boys without the makeup on, Brendan Carroll or whatever his name is. I fucking hate that show, but there you go. But he just looked like him, and I just thought he was wrong when he said, just leave him. And I'm like, Adrian is the one who should leave you. He's put up with so much shit from what we've seen that he's the one you should be fighting for, Adrian, because if not, you're never going to get another Adrian because he's going to carry on in these failed relationships. And I just thought that whole thing when he was crying and Thomas and it turned into, Tom didn't say anything a lot. Thomas didn't say a lot of things, but he still had to be the centre of attention. And I just thought that was handled completely wrong.
Yeah, it left the episode on a bit of a sour note, really, didn't it? I didn't really expect this at all because they've been my favourite couple, for the last week or so. The first thing that was weird was how, Tom's mum did most of the speaking. And it seemed like, straight off the bat, they don't like Adrian. But hang about, we love Adrian. What's he done? Why would you not like Adrian? And I was trying to think, I guess that, they'd seen them at the wedding. I guess, maybe they've made a decision or like a bit of a judgment. We'll form those first impressions, don't we? And maybe there's something there that they didn't like, or maybe it's not that they don't like him, they just don't necessarily think he's a good fit for Thomas. But I didn't like where the line of questioning was going. It was like it seemed to be questioning whether Adrian was good enough to date Thomas, and then the way the conversation was going, it was getting very, like I almost thought it was going to go to like, what are your favourite sexual positions and stuff. It was all getting like really uncomfortable, wasn't it? It's like, yeah, but is there real passion there or whatever? And I think if I flip to the other side, playing devil's advocate for a bit, I think they know their son. They've seen him in relationships and stuff before. They know, what makes him happy. And there's something that they're picking up on. And I think it is the physical intimacy that they know that is not quite gelling. And then it made me question. I was thinking, well, they've been great together, but is that not just a great comedy duo / partnership? And maybe they don't have that actual fundamental attraction to each other. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I mean, especially when Adrian's getting all upset and stuff, you just want to reach through the screen and give him a cuddle, don't you? It's like, look, and he didn't really get a lot. I didn't feel like, and considering how much he's given to this relationship, I was a bit disappointed with how it all went.
Yeah, I'm with you. He felt as if it should have been the other way around. Like if Adrian's family had said to him, look, I think you need to get out. These red flags here, it's just going to be too much trouble for you, blah, blah. You could get it. And even if he defends Thomas and says, no, actually, we were together, really sweet. We've sorted it out. I know how to handle him, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, being on a show is the pressure cooker. It's not like real life. Real life can be a pressure cooker. We know that. But it isn't real life. You set up into scenarios with people that Thomas doesn't like, so he goes after April and George. I think your analysis yesterday was correct. It was bordering on sort of bullying in some respects, slightly. Like it's like, well, just let it go now. You're getting involved. He was getting involved in stuff to do with him, and I think I could buy that. I just felt it was just the wrong way to approach it, and he didn't deserve that. And I just hope that whatever happens from here, Adrian deserves to be happy over anybody in this show for me. I think he's just such a good guy. So I just hope that if he's not Tom, I've got my doubts they'll work. I'll be honest with you. I think it just won't work. Adrian doesn't need all that drama, but they do seem sweet together and we have championed them. So I just felt that, look, it's going to lead in tomorrow's episode and I cannot wait. And I'm like, right, let's see what happens with the fallout of this. Because there was enough little bits of drama for us to podcast, obviously, again, but to obviously just to make me go, oh, you bastards. And then to top it all off, Dave, we got a revelation from Matt and Whitney, didn't we?
Oh, shitney. Fucking, honestly, he's now fucking in love, is he? Oh, fuck me. I don't know what to say to that. Just utter bullshit. And you know what I didn't say about yesterday as well, now that you mentioned that, Chris? The whole fucking thing when they were asked about, they slept together, had they been intimate? And it was like, Matt said, I'd been celibate and now I'm not. Celibate? Fuck off. There's fucking zero chance. Just come out and say, just admit it. You weren't attracted to Gemma. That's okay for you, if that's the way you feel. But don't fucking dance around the houses and make it out like it's something it's not. Because didn't he say to Gemma, he doesn't want to rush things and yada, 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 making all the excuses in the world. And then the first fucking chance he gets, he's in bed with Whitney. So, yeah, it's just bollocks. Now, if this was Love Island, Chris, we'd be saying, and it was a couple who came in late, we'd be saying, well, they have to ramp it up, don't they? Because the OGs have been there. We've seen their progression. They're now, some of them are boyfriend and girlfriend. So the new ones have really got to lay it on thick. I just wonder if it's a bit of that.
Yeah, potentially. It could be. But look, again, I came off it going, we've got to record right now. This is just fucking nonsense. And brilliant. This series, Dave, I've fully enjoyed. These last couple of weeks, it's just
it doesn't sound like it. If you're listening, we do. We love it. Hate it in equal measure. We get passionate, we get worked up. But yeah, this series has been brilliant. This series, Chris, has been on par with Australia for me. And yeah, absolutely loved it. But Chris, before, because I can tell in the tone of your voice there, you wanting to wrap up, and you said, "Oh, I'll put a little footnote for Paul."
Oh,
so
you
I'm just
did,
going to
yeah.
assume that was a mental footnote that you just had a brain fart on. So what have you got to say about Paul?
Well, our good friend Paul came out, and a lot of people had gone at him and saying, like, what the hell are the judges doing? Like, or experts, fucking, fake perts, whatever we're going to call them, David. That's the new word I've just made up, by the way. Regarding Matt and Whitney, the way they were cooing over them coming in and the science and all this other bullshit, which completely goes against, the sanctity of what MAFS is supposed to be. However, them not being in the show also means it's fucking boring. So let's be honest. We know where we know how to cut our cloth accordingly. But
I don't know if it would be boring, but it wouldn't get us quite as riled up. I mean, we've not discussed George and April, but we'll come back to those after Paul.
That's true. But he did come out and say, there's a couple of tweets that he's thrown out there. And one of them was basically, we need to, I'm fully aware now that we don't see what you see. We just see the dinner parties, and our commentary and observations are completely off. Basically saying that we need to see what we're going to see, to form a judgment. So that's that, because we kept saying that was, the tone was wrong. It completely went off. They were queuing over. It just didn't make any sense. So he said that. And then also later on, someone else said about, I think it was the Matt situation and Gemma and that. And he's just said, I'm going to discuss that and address that after the show's wrapped. So I don't know what the score is with any of this. It sounds like to me, initially I put it on all our social stuff and I was like, yeah, fair play to him. Had a discussion with you, Dave, and you opened to my eyes to the fact that I think he's fucking backpedaling. So I'm going with what your diagnosis is on that.
So, I mean, from my perspective, I'm reading it, and I know there's a lot of fans of Paul out there, and he does come across like, like a good guy. But I'm like, well, if you saw nothing else, surely you saw that there were a couple of people who did not give a fuck about what anyone else thought, and was completely being disrespectful in the way they're talking to them. No, they're going like, oh, it's really great how Whitney's fighting for the relationship. You don't fucking need to have seen any other context to know they're acting like a couple of bellends. So now I remember, I'm sure it was the Australian season, we were saying, because it was a bit of a revelation for us, but it became obvious that they hadn't seen what we'd seen. By the time it came to a dinner party, I think it might have been with the Daniel and Carolina thing, and they were totally out of step for it, so apparently it's only just dawned on Paul. Really? Really? Well, you don't get a briefing or anything? Are the show actually trying to make the experts look stupid? Is that what's happening? That seems a stretch, doesn't it?
I think, no, I sort of agree with what you just said. I know you're sort of saying that tongue in cheek. I think that they seem to think it's like makes it more authentic, when clearly when you've got fucking these ridiculous contestants on, it doesn't work. This format does not work. This as it's gone on, they've got to tweak it. They've got to be able to observe what the fuck's going on in these flats and stuff, not just turn up to the flats like Charlene did with the fucking load of dildos and fucking cock rings and go on, show us what you can do, and then they film it. Let's fucking see some proper fucking what's going on, the psychological stuff, like all this alleged stuff that's coming out. So yeah, they've got to be held to task, Dave, because that is so shit for them, because basically they're rocking up for a couple of hours of filming and then fuck off. Easy money.
There's all these different film crews and everything following these couples around. You mean to tell me there's not some intern who writes a quick synopsis of what they've observed for the day?
Yeah.
All right, here you go, guys. There's 6 pages. Read those before you watch the dinner party. I struggle to really buy that. I can't believe that they just rock up and then go in completely cold.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, the thing is as well, they'll get cheat sheets and everything, there'll be stuff people will say. I think you're right there. See, I've always been quite naive when I first posted it. I think you're absolutely correct on that. And other people have called them out online on our Facebook group, everything. Yeah. What a load of shit.
But it fools some people. It fooled you, didn't it? You were like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, good. Nice one, Paul. I understand now. And again, I'm not saying that, maybe they don't get these, briefings over how the couples have gone or whatever. Maybe it's intentional by design, by the show, that they go into this completely cold, seeing none of the context. But, there's 9 different Australian seasons. This is the 7th UK season. Probably, there's different countries as well. There's all of this material. And you mean to tell me they've not, refined that whole process so they've got it down to a T now? I just cannot buy it. And so, no. Yeah, I still think they're just massively off, and it's a backpedaling. You know what this is, Chris? This is a fucking mini budget. This is, let's fuck up the economy. Let's get rid of the 45p tax thing. Oh, no, shit. We've been called out on that. Let's reverse.
Yeah.
Damage limitation. But anyway, what do you think of how George and April went?
I don't know what to say because...
Let me start then. So,
okay.
You can't get your head out of the papers, can you? So
no, I can't.
He, again, like I said with Zoe and Jenna, no fucking interest in moving somewhere else than where he is right now. Now, fair enough, right? If I had 4 kids to raise, I couldn't move. I'm not going to fucking up sticks and move 4 kids out of school and everything, disrupt their whole lives, take them out fucking of their friend group and whatever. Now, if it's a massive job opportunity or something like that, yeah, you might move location. That happens all the time. But this isn't Bachelor. This isn't, what was Claire's line? This is all for love. Fuck off. This is practicalities. But again, I found like he was just disrespectful. He was just dismissing the idea of moving to London straight off the bat. It's like, well, why did you turn up then? Well, what did you come here for? Well, your Instagram following, obviously, and exposure. But, he just came across like he was not interested at all. And again, of all of what we've seen in April in the previous episodes, this was the one that convinced me the most that she loves that London life. The parties and everything. It's great when you're younger in London, and you've got everything within a tube ride away. It's a great, great place to be when you haven't got a mortgage and kids. But you know what? When you have got a mortgage and kids, well, the thing you needed to do is buy it 20, 30 years ago. But, I just think lifestyle-wise, it just showed them to be completely incompatible. The other thing I'll say, her mate Jose, clearly been on something else as well, got his 5 minutes of fame there. Get him on the show.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he actually told it how it was. It was like, look, no, you're not ready to give up all of this. Is she really going to give up that London high life and go and fucking settle down in Worcester and look after 4 kids?
Yeah. That's true. I mean,
out of all the sorry, I'll say this and then I'll be quiet. Out of all of the couples, that would be the biggest lifestyle change, wouldn't it? I mean, we talked about Jenna and Zoe. Surely you could, if you built up a business in Blackpool, maybe sell it up, start, it was a shop or something, wasn't it? Go and sell further down. I'm sure you could take that business and build it up elsewhere. Zoe's job, I'm sure, there are construction things going on in Blackpool and the surrounding area. So they're not willing to budge, but it's not that much of a stretch. There is no way April could jump from where she is now to where he wants her to be.
I think with them two, Dave, him having 4 kids, when he told April, whatever we think of George, and I think they're not compatible and everything. It was never going to work. She was like, oh, 4 kids, right? Because, like you say, there is a London life. It's like that New York life, isn't there? And apparently Sophie does the Manchester life, which I've never heard of in 43 years of living in Manchester.
I know Manchester is a city, but I've never heard anyone talk about it quite like Sophie does, like it is New York or London or something.
Fair play. I mean, we've got some high-rises being built now and that, but it's certainly not. I work in there every day, and I'm driving around there most days, and it's a shithole, but there you go. But anyway, and I can say that as a Mancunian, but no, you're right. There's just no compromise. A friend obviously was very excited, David. Definitely. I do agree with that, Joseph. And a lot of people said, getting with Adrian, like as a couple. I saw that online. Look, these guys are not compatible, and George can convince himself all he wants that we're working through things and everything. They're not. And I think she's just being stifled by it all, and I think she just wants out. I think she wants that little bit of fame, because when Whitney turns up, she jumps to Whitney. I mean, come on. Ever was a judge of a bad friend, like a friend's, not a bad friend, of a friend's decisions, what we've seen. These two are just made for each other. They're like the Mean Girls, I think, Dave, together. But she doesn't deserve the pressure George seems to put on her from what we've seen on the show. So, no, they're not going to work. And I think it just needs to be, I put a pin in it, and that's the end of it. See you later. They will not be together.
No. And I said without any foresight whatsoever.
Yeah.
No, that's been brilliant. Cheers, Chris. It's been good. And honestly, tomorrow night's episode again does seem like a cracker, doesn't it? I'm sure some of the seeds that were planted tonight are going to blossom tomorrow. So we might be back again tomorrow. Let's see.
Hey, don't you say anything. This is your fault. So let's just, it's your fault. But anyway, big thank you to everyone as always. Get over to Facebook, Chris and A's Reality TV Cast, and get over there, guys, and come and join us. Big thanks to Charlene, as always, for running the page for us. We do appreciate it. Thank you, Charlene. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. And if you want to support us a little bit more, get over to patreon.com/cdrealitycast. So today's roll call of honour: Cassie, Megan, Kate, Annabeth, Maggie, Kristen, Gillian, Michelle, Keith, Helen, Brianna, Jacqueline, Noreen, Amy, Joanna, Libby, Katie, Dee Dee, Hannah, Priscilla, Susan, Hennessy, Lauren, Lucky Ludwig Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate it. So our daily, not podcast, seems to have creeped back in, hasn't it, Mr. Horrocks? But anyway.
It has. And we did clarify, so the last episode of MAFS will be on the 18th of October. So a couple of weeks from now, and so we'll be done. So depending on whether we do a week wrap-up or daily, not too many episodes. So survivable, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for that, mate, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye now.